Love. Some would say it took a backseat when the pandemic forced us apart. As a family-run and proudly Canadian-owned company, Charm Diamond Centers saw the need to bring us together with tales of love and created the Canadian Love Map podcast. Since then, we've shared hundreds of real, uplifting stories that prove love conquers all. So thank you for listening. We couldn't do it without you. And remember, love starts here.
A lot of us are selfish, and I think a lot of us are so eager to figure out our own lives that we forget that there's all these people around us that might need a little help. And I never asked for help, and she went out of her way and did it for me.
Hi, I'm Nancy Regan. This week's love story is all about friendship in pursuit of love. Jami is single and considered a catch by many of her friends. But it was Samantha who went above and beyond to help Jami find love. Sam created a dating website devoted to Jami, and the response has been overwhelming. Jami, let's start with this. It seems to me that every single girl should have a friend like Sam.
Agreed. I agree.
I love this story. I can't wait for our listeners to hear it as we sort of roll it out. But let's start at the beginning. Where did your friendship start?
3 or 4 years ago. So my landlords, my friends upstairs, one of them, Anna, this is her best friend, Sam. So when Katie and Anna met, I was Katie's friend. So when they met, they brought us together. And ever since then, we've kind of been going along the journey with them. And now they're married and Sam is in a relationship. So, and then there's single me. So that kind of started the process of we need to get this girl a man. So that's kind of where that led to.
Tell me about the conversation that evolved about the singlehood and needing to find a man.
Well, we were at Saunders Farms, which is like a Halloween scary thing that was going on. And we had went through a haunted walk. And at the end of it, we're all sitting at a picnic table. And Sam pretty much goes like, you have 3 options. You either get a billboard, you get business cards or flyers, or I'm making you a website. Which one do you want? And I was like, for what? She's like, we're going to find you a guy. And I was like, okay. And I thought she was joking. And a couple days later, she created a website and then it kind of went from there.
Okay, Sam, tell me your side of it.
Well, I mean, I've known Jami for quite a long time, and we really got to know each other this year because of COVID, and we ended up in the same bubble. And Jami, has had such a long year and has done so much learning and growing. And I think that she's decided the next step of this growing process is dating. And while we were at the farm, every single time we saw somebody who looked appropriate, she goes, should I go talk to him? And she seemed a little bit nervous. So I thought maybe she could just use some assistance. So we were coming up with ways that she could maybe ease that conversation as she really wanted to talk to each and every single looking man she could find. So we came up with a website, making it a little bit easier for us to give something out to those boys so that they have a way to reach out to Jami.
Okay. That's why you say on the website that she's looking for a human man. It's actually a very low bar, really. It says, I love it. It says, our friend Jami is looking for love. She is searching for an adult human man who enjoys people, places, and things. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Well, I mean, it could be any sort of people, places, or things. He just has to have some interests and be of an appropriate age. I think that really we just, really open to all opportunities here at datejami.com. We really like to make sure that we are an equal opportunity dating site.
Okay, You say you're looking for an adult man, but I understand that she's very popular with grades 7 and 8 boys. Expliquez, s'il vous plaît.
I'm a teacher, so that's where that comment comes from. I've been teaching grade 7, 8 for the last 4 years now, so I am a hit with them. And I definitely have had some boys, I think, look at me a little bit too long than they're supposed to. But that's where that comment comes from.
I figured it meant you were either a teacher or a pop singer.
True. Yeah, that could work as well.
Okay, so what was your first reaction, Jami, when you saw the website?
Honestly, I was amazed. I've never had anyone put so much work into a website for me to find voice. My friends were like, what? Like, I can't believe this is happening. And I was like, just amazed. And what I loved most about it is I think I'm very critical of myself. And I'm always thinking like, oh, I'm not good enough for this, or, oh, I can't say that, or I can't pick that picture. So I love that she took all of the stress away and did it on her own. And like, she sees me differently than I see myself. And I'm sure that those men probably would see me that way as well. So I just love that she one day just sat at her desk and put a website together within a couple of hours, and then it was done. And then she was like, okay, like, let's do this. And I was like, what? Like, I thought this was a joke. Like, no one's going to see this website. Like, nothing's going to happen with it. But I was so amazed and so touched. And she like was like, oh, it was nothing. Like, it didn't take long. And I was like, this is a big deal for me. Like, this could lead to something. So I was just shocked and amazed and in awe, because I am not a tech person and I would never be able to make a website for myself. So it was so cool.
What happened after this was posted? And Sam, did you think it was mostly a joke as well, or did you anticipate that it was going to go big?
Oh, I by no means anticipated it hitting this like volume of attention. I think that I mostly did it because I thought it would make Jami laugh. It would make our friends Anna and Katie laugh. It would be like a small joke. And then we could hand it out to maybe one or two guys we thought were funny. But it got shared on Reddit, the Ottawa subreddit, and it really took off from there. We saw a couple hundred views in the first day, and we thought that was mind-blowing. We thought that was the highest number we'd ever see. 100 boys have seen Jami. That's amazing. And by the next day, we had about 20,000 views. So us panicking over the 100 really made us feel dramatic. And we saw about 360 applicants throughout this entire process, which is overwhelming, mostly because I read through them all before they got to Jami, just to make sure we could weed out anyone who might be a bit hard to read or might be a little bit offensive. So I read about a lot of single men. Some of them were goats. Some of them just wanted to buy quilts. And a small number of them were just saying that they think Sam Page is funny and Jami's fine, which were my favorites, but Jami didn't like those as much. So yeah, we saw a ton of attention. It took off so fast, and it's still getting shares and sees. It's seeing still a couple hundred people a day.
Okay, so you got an amazing response from men, but you also got a lot of attention from media.
Yes. So I was like, hey, like, I don't know how many people are in the Reddit world, but maybe I should put this out on other platforms. So I had sent the link of my website to a couple radio stations in Ottawa. And it turns out a lot of them had already talked about it on their radio stations prior to me messaging them. So two radio stations in Ottawa reached out to me, and I called up on one, and then we planned a interview with another one. I've been on a podcast with one of a radio station hosts here in Ottawa too. And so that was crazy. I've never really been on the radio before. And so to try and sell myself on the radio was very intimidating. And also, like, I walk the streets of Ottawa. So to think that somebody on the street would come up to me and be like, I heard you on the radio, or I've seen your website, I was like, oh, this is going to be insane. And then when it came to the Reddit thing, CBC Ottawa had reached out, and Sam, she can talk more about that because she kind of planned that. But CBC Radio 1 messaged through Reddit wanting to do an interview. So,
yeah, well, first of all, Jami is of this rare breed where she has decided the peak of celebrity is local radio. I've never seen a person in my life more excited to be on a 2-minute spot on a radio station. And I wish I could hold that amount of joy in my body that Jami has for these spots. It's amazing. I've never seen someone happier.
Like, I never thought that with me speaking on the radio that parents are now hearing about me and meeting me before I've met them. So now I feel like it's very intimidating that if I, down the road, these parents invite me over for dinner, that they know more about me and I know nothing about them.
Jamie, how many suitors can you handle? That's the question.
I have never felt so. I remember months ago when COVID hit, I said, I'm never going to talk to a guy. This is never going to happen. And now I'm like, I just looked at 360-ish applications and I narrowed it down to 36 guys that I was like, okay, I think I am interested in these men. And so Sam had sent an email out being like, Jamie has picked you. And I feel like I am on a reality show like The Bachelor. Like I should have roses ready and give them out as it goes on. And on Monday, we started the Zoom dates. So I have been on 10 Zoom dates so far.
Wow.
And I'm usually a one guy at a time kind of girl. That's me. So to go on 10 dates in 5 days has been pretty crazy for me. It's a big ego boost, that's for sure.
Can you give us the inside scoop? Any highlights or lowlights?
There were some lows and there definitely were some highs. Here's the thing is that all the guys that I had picked, I liked their application and a lot of them put their social media handles on there. So I was able to get a look of them physically and see their kind of day-to-day life. So all of them were really great on paper. But for me, it's that talking and that conversation and can we keep it flowing? Do they make me laugh? Like that kind of a thing. And like, I've been dating for 10 years. So I can, it doesn't take long for me to realize if it's going to be a yes or a no. But all of them have been super nice to the point where at the end of every Zoom date, they go, it's been so nice to meet you. And if I don't make it, like, I really hope you find someone. And it's just given me so much hope that there's actual decent men in the world. So it's given me just like confidence and they've all been super nice. And there's definitely some that I am interested in. And honestly, all of them, I have friends now, whether if I say no, they don't feel mad or angry at me, but I have new friends that I've created. So it's been great.
That is amazing. You also, it seems to me, have a pool of talent that you can, go forward with to fix up your friends. Do you have friends who are saying, hey, give me your cast-offs?
Yeah. I never actually thought of that because there's not many single friends that I have. But if I come across people that I know their interests, I could maybe match them up myself.
Okay. So Sam, I want to go back to what was it about Jamie that made you as a girlfriend say, this is just, there's something wrong with this picture. We need to find this fabulous woman a man. Tell me about what you see in her that made you want to do this.
I mean, I think that everyone has a handful of single friends, and a couple of them you get to know really well. You love them, but you kind of understand it. I think that Jamie is the opposite of that, where, you meet her and she's lovely and she's a nice person and like, you don't really get why she's a hard sell, and I think that like Jamie's one of those people where if I described her to someone else, I don't have to put in those vague, like, she try so hard. You don't have to put in those like weird fillers. You can actually say a full list of nice things about her. And that's a really satisfying thing to do. Jamie's just an easy sell. And I think that like with a quick pitch, I could really find her the right person. So I decided to take on the challenge.
Thanks, buddy.
Because we're on an Audible platform here, what I'd like you to do, I know a lot of people, if not everyone listening, is going to go and check out jami.com. And I should say it's JAMI.com. But Sam, I'd like you mentioned your pitch a moment ago. I want you to give us your pitch for Jamie.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Jamie is an adult human female who does like people, places, and things.
Jamie has her face covered with her hands currently. I can see this on Zoom. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, no. She enjoys going outside. She's an appropriate height, not too tall or too short, which is perfect. She has brown hair and a very nice smile. She is somebody who likes doing a lot of different like sports and outdoor activities, but not to the point that she's super focused on one, which means she has a diverse interest in exercise, but at a healthy level. She's good at cooking, but not perfect, which means that you could teach her to cook your favorite meals in the way that you like them. And she is funny, but not so funny that you would be intimidated by the fact that she's funnier than you. She's a good balance. Jami is the perfect mix of somebody with a great personality who would match almost anyone she meets.
While the world is going through a very tough time, you guys are bringing humor and light into the world. And I even feel terrific about putting this episode out, because I know it's going to bring smiles to people's faces. And that's what we need right now. So have you felt a sense of contributing in that way?
Yeah, definitely. Like, especially because like I've also had like 40, 50-year-old women following me on Instagram who are single, and they're like, you're giving me hope. Like, I'm excited. And there's also people that like love my realness. And that the other night I had posted a story being like, I am taking this very seriously. This is like I want to find someone. Like, I love love, and I'm looking forward to that next step. And like, this is not easy for me. And no, I've never been on more than 1 or 2 dates in a week. So to do, 10 to 14 in 1 week is so real for me. And so like, I'm being very honest, and a lot of people love that. And I'm also going through like a transition in my life where I'm not entirely sure I want to continue my career. So I'm also going and looking in a different career path. And a lot of people are like, wow, like, look at you, like through all of this COVID stuff, you've been really able to like find yourself and figure out what makes you happy.
And I can just see now the wedding where you have these stories to talk about. Do you have any worry that your situation will evolve into one of those scenes you see where the bachelorette is in love with 2 men at the same time? Are you nervous about that? Is that an obstacle, or would you welcome that?
I think I've looked at those shows and go, God, like, how do you kiss that many guys at one time? And
Exactly.
how do you remember who you told what? Like, I can't remember sometimes what I ate yesterday, let alone did I tell you this story, or am I mixing their mom's names up or whatever? Like, I don't know. And so I've never done this before, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll only kiss one guy, I think, at the end. And if there's multiple ones, like, I'll keep talking to them. Like, just because like I picked them doesn't mean they have to keep it going. If they're not interested, that's cool too. Like, we're all learning this whole new process. So
okay, so my last question is based on the fact that at the Canadian Love Map podcast, we like to focus on love stories of all kinds. And the love story here is between friends. And I just want to say, what does this kind of friendship between women mean to you?
I'm so excited to have a friend like Sam. Like, my whole process of like coming and moving to this city on a whim and kind of like taking each day like to the fullest. Like, I'm so happy to have Sam, and I'm so happy that she took a chance on me and just decided to do this one day. And like, I honestly think more women need to do that. Like, I think a lot of us are selfish, and I think a lot of us are so eager to figure out our own lives that we forget that there's all these people around us that might need a little help. And I never asked for help, and she went out of her way and did it for me. And like, we're living in a period right now where women are helping women, and women are standing up for women, and women are doing what we should have been doing forever ago, but we just didn't. So, and there's so many women who have reached out to Sam that are like, oh my gosh, can you make me a website? And she would do it. Like, she would do it, and she wouldn't even have to know them. Like, and that's what's awesome. And that other people have started to create websites for their single friends. And I think too, is that, I don't know, I think it should just happen more. And I'm so proud to be a part of something like this. And like, I want this to start a new trend. Like, I think everyone should do this, where, like, to have somebody else sell you is so much better than you trying to sell yourself. And I think that's been the problem, maybe, is that I wasn't saying or doing the right things. So Sam did it for me. I'm just very thankful. Like, all of this is so overwhelming. And like, there are moments where I'm like, oh my God, like I don't want to do this because this is so much. But then at the end of the day, like too, she did it for me. And the least I can do is go through this whole process to the end. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I'm so happy, honestly.
So great. Sam, I think she's right. You know, there may be a future here as a love manager, love concierge.
Well, of course, and I do have a pool of men that I can now offer on my dating service, which is quite lucky. But I have actually had folks reach out to me and ask them to build websites. So who knows? Who knows where it'll go from here?
I love you guys. Thank you so much for doing this. And,
Thank you so much.
And good luck in love.
Thank you.
Jami.com. Thanks so much for listening to the Canadian Love Map. If you love us, please subscribe and share. We'll be back next week with another love story to add to the map. This podcast is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, Canada's largest family-owned jewelry store. They are proud to be putting love on the map, and the staff at Charm Diamond Centers are thrilled to be a part of your love story too. So visit charmdiamondcenters.com or one of your local stores. Love starts here. This podcast is made possible by Charm Diamond Centers. It's hosted by me, Nancy Regan, and is produced and distributed by Podstarter.